In this video, we will embark on a profound journey into the parables delivered by Jesus Christ, seeking to unveil the enduring life lessons they offer for today's world. These stories, crafted with divine wisdom, continue to guide, inspire, and transform our lives. So, let us embark on this enlightening expedition. Let's talk about the significance of Jesus's parables. A parable at its core is a narrative that employs familiar, everyday elements to illustrate profound and valuable moral or spiritual lessons. Through these parables, Jesus took complex spiritual concepts and made them approachable, relatable, and memorable. These parables are primarily found in the Synoptic Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke. Approximately one-third of Jesus's recorded teachings consist of these powerful stories. They are considered to be the words of Jesus himself. Now, let's delve into several remarkable parables delivered by Jesus, exploring their profound life lessons and their relevance in our modern lives. 1. The parable of the lamp, Matthew 5:14-16. Let us turn to the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verses 14 to 16. You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a stand, and it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven. This parable serves as a beacon of guidance, urging us to illuminate the world with our deeds. It encourages us to let our light shine before others so that they may witness our acts of goodness, and in doing so, bring glory to our Father in heaven. Essentially, it calls us to be positive influences in our communities, letting our actions reflect the depth of our faith. In today's world, where darkness can often shroud our lives in various forms, be it in the form of negativity, despair, or indifference, this parable reminds us of our duty to shine a light of hope, kindness, and compassion. We are challenged to live out our faith not just in words, but through tangible actions that positively impact the lives of those around us. It is not enough to call yourself a Christian, your actions must equally reflect that. 2. The parable of the speck and the log, Matthew 7:1-5. Let us turn to the book of Matthew, chapter 7, verses 1-5. This parable is a powerful lesson in humility and empathy. Jesus advises us against passing judgment on others, cautioning that the judgments we mete out will be returned to us in kind. It compels us to first scrutinize our own faults before criticizing or condemning others. In our contemporary world, characterized by rapid information sharing and often hasty judgments, this parable serves as a poignant reminder. We live in an era where it is increasingly easy to form quick opinions about others, often based on incomplete information or biased perspectives. Jesus' message here encourages us to take a step back, reflect on our own imperfections, and approach others with compassion and understanding, fostering an environment of empathy and acceptance. 3. The parable of new cloth on old garment, Matthew 9:16-17. Let us turn to the book of Matthew, chapter 9, verses 16-17. No one puts a piece of unshrunk cloth on an old garment, for the patch tears away from the garment, and a worse tear is made. Neither is new wine put into old wineskins. If it is, the skins burst, and the wine is spilled, and the skins are destroyed. But new wine is put into fresh wineskins, and so both are preserved. This parable challenges us to embrace change and growth in our spiritual journeys. Jesus uses the metaphor of new cloth on an old garment to illustrate that old ways of thinking and behaving cannot be seamlessly integrated with new, transformative spiritual insights. In today's rapidly evolving world, this lesson holds tremendous relevance. As we navigate the complexities of contemporary life, we are constantly confronted with new challenges, ideas, and perspectives. Just as the old cloth cannot accommodate the new, rigid adherence to outdated beliefs and practices can hinder our spiritual growth and understanding. This parable encourages us to remain open-minded, adaptable, and receptive to evolving spiritual truths and insights. For the parable of the sower, Matthew 13, 3-9. Let us turn to the book of Matthew, chapter 13, verses 3-9. And he told them many things in parables, saying, A sower went out to sow, and as he sowed, some seeds fell along the path, and the birds came and devoured them. Other seeds fell on rocky ground, where they did not have much soil, and immediately they sprang up, since they had no depth of soil. But when the sun rose, they were scorched, and since they had no root, they withered away. Other seeds fell among thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked them. Other seeds fell on good soil and produced grain, some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. He who has ears, let him hear. The parable of the sower underscores the importance of receptivity and preparedness for receiving spiritual truths. Just as different types of soil yield varying results, the state of our hearts and minds determines how we receive and nurture the teachings of faith. This parable reminds us that to flourish spiritually, we must cultivate fertile soil within ourselves, removing the obstacles that hinder growth. In our contemporary lives filled with distractions and competing priorities, this parable encourages us to be mindful of the condition of our hearts and the receptivity of our minds. Are we ready to receive and nurture the seeds of wisdom and faith? 5. The parable of the prodigal son. Luke 15:11-32. Let us turn to the book of Luke, chapter 15, verses 11-32. And he said, There was a man who had 2 sons, and the younger of them said to his father, Father, give me the share of property that is coming to me. And he divided his property between them. Not many days later, the younger son gathered all he had and took a journey into a far country. And there he squandered his property in reckless living. And when he had spent everything, a severe famine arose in that country, and he began to be in need. So he went and hired himself out to one of the citizens of that country, who sent him into his fields to feed pigs. And he was longing to be fed with the pods that the pigs ate, and no one gave him anything. But when he came to himself, he said, How many of my father's hired servants have more than enough bread, but I perish here with hunger? I will arise and go to my father, and I will say to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Treat me as one of your hired servants. And he arose and came to his father. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and felt compassion, and ran and embraced him and kissed him. And the son said to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. But the father said to his servants, Bring quickly the best robe, and put it on him, and put a ring on his hand and shoes on his feet, and bring the fattened calf and kill it, and let us eat and celebrate. For this my son was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. And they began to celebrate. Now his older son was in the field, and as he came and drew near to the house, he heard music and dancing. And he called one of the servants and asked what these things meant. And he said to him, Your brother has come, and your father has killed the fattened calf, because he has received him back safe and sound. But he was angry and refused to go in. His father came out and entreated him, but he answered his father, Look, these many years I have served you, and I never disobeyed your command. Yet you never gave me a young goat, that I might celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours came, who has devoured your property with prostitutes, you killed the fattened calf for him. And he said to him, Son, you are always with me, and all that is mine is yours. It was fitting to celebrate and be glad, for this your brother was dead and is alive. He was lost and is found. The parable of the prodigal son is a profound narrative that conveys the themes of forgiveness, redemption, and unconditional love. It tells the story of a younger son who squanders his inheritance in a distant land, only to return home in humility and repentance. His father's welcoming embrace exemplifies God's boundless love and forgiveness, regardless of our past mistakes. In our contemporary world, marked by fractured relationships and unresolved conflicts, this parable reminds us of the power of reconciliation and the transformative nature of forgiveness. It encourages us to extend grace and compassion to others, recognizing that we, too, stand in need of forgiveness and reconciliation.